This is Too Far Enterprises and why we do what we do. We should not be surprised that we fight one another. Remember, the movie Django or Jamie Foxx, Django, one plantation black against another plantation black, while the plantation owners bet on whose black man is the strongest and who would whip one another, so they would place bets on them. That was in Django. Black people, people of color, who else will you take out your frustrations on? You surely are not going to do it. It's been obvious that you're not going to do it to your oppressor. So the person that you turn to is the one that you think that you can conquer. Since you've been conquered already, you're going to take a page out of the slave master's book and conquer your own brother and sister or a weaker race, okay? Because you know that you can't take out your frustrations on the person that you would really want to do that. The slave owners, the slave catchers. No, most of you will not even think about that. You'd rather fight yourself or another person of color than to take it out and actually place the blame where it's supposed to be. Never forget, a debt is old, but we need to repair ourselves. And a lot of people say, you know, you're begging. But are the Ukrainians begging? Were the Japanese begging? Were the Jews begging when they got their money? No. Were the Indians begging when they got theirs? And they did not include black people who were here first? No. But look, you know, we've been trained to do what we do. And I want you to remember the movie Goodbye, Uncle Tom, Django. Remember the movie 1619 and what that woman went through to put the movie out and the book together and all of that stuff, and how she was treated afterwards, because she took the sheet off of racism in this country. She took the sheet off of people hiding in the back who were responsible for all this. Remember, my body is a monument? Just letting people know that the color of your skin is an actual representation of slavery and what was done to you and other people of color. But we are supposed to sit by and say, okay, all right, that happened so long ago, and you know, the people here that's profiting off of our ancestors' backs and generational wealth and the positions that they got and the way that they're treated, first-class citizens, all of that, we're supposed to forget all of that, and you know, we're supposed to just endure. Well, we've been enduring for 400 or 500 years. And what has that got us? What it has got us is with an attitude against ourselves that is called hate. We have an attitude against people that look like you because the memories that you hold, they remind you of when you were laughed at, scorned, mocked because you were black, okay? Because you came from the working class, okay? And this applies to all people of color. You know, I'm gonna keep saying it because, you know, you act like you can't hear me. You understand? Yes, the whole human race is our brothers and sisters, but some of our brothers and sisters don't know how to share. And let me tell you something. They remind you of badass children. And you know what my grandmother used to do with that? She used to whip their behind. And let me tell you something. No matter how much you act and want to get along with some people, they will still hate you. That goes for relatives too, black or white, yellow, red, it doesn't matter. Some things that you want, you will never have. But at least we need to man up. Black men have always been the head of the family. And I know what was done to you, when they took you out of the family, gave the woman food stamps, housing, made sure that you weren't there. But not only that, when they did those horrible things to you in slavery, okay? Not only during the transatlantic voyage, but when you were here. They made your women and children watch while they did things to you unimaginable, tore you asunder, hung you, burned you, did all of these things. And nobody likes to be reminded of that. But see, we have a real problem here. You see, we have a problem of how we act in public, how we treat others that look like us or that are part of our race, and we don't like it and they don't like it. They don't want to be a part of it. But it just so happens you are. And the real brothers and sisters understand that no matter what, you may not like Kamala, but let me tell you something. So you telling me that instead of bunny hopping, you would rather rabbit hop over to your oppressor, okay, than vote for Kamala. Now I'm gonna tell you something. We need to deal with that situation on another level, but at some point in time, we have to understand that we're gonna have to stick together. We have no friends. The only friend you really have is yourself and the God within you. And our churches, they need to do a better job of representing us. You see, you can't hear from them no more. Maybe y'all giving them too much money and you made your pastors and they're shirking their duties and they're not actually fighting for the community no more. Neither are we. All of the rich people that we have, King Kong, Dr. Umar, we should have got that school up and running by now, even if, no matter what the score was, simply because he's trying to do something positive for his community, okay? Now, I want you to think real hard about the way you treat your brother and sister and the way you treat your community and the way you act on the street. But I want you to think even harder about what you do to yourself. See, self-hatred make you do all kind of things. The drinking, the cursing, the sexual, demonic things that y'all do, Look, we've gone too far. It's time to reel back. Have some respect. You understand? Now, I'm not trying to chastise nobody, but you learned all your foul ways from the master. And you learned them on the way over here. You learned them in Africa when you thought he was your friend. You invited him onto the continent, and what did he do? He immediately sent for other reinforcements so that he can take over the continent, and he hasn't left yet. He's stealing and plundering and doing the same thing he's always been doing. But let me tell you, they used to do it to each other, so it's not a surprise that they did it to us and still doing it. But what we do to each other is more, I'm going to tell you, it's more terrifying, and it's really something that we have to deal with, self-hate. I know that this system of things is not fair. But instead of fighting one another, why don't we get the courage to fight the real enemy? Why don't we start thinking about at least trying to treat each other with some respect? This is Too Far Enterprises, and this is just something that had to be said.